The story will be told from the perspective of the main female character.
My sister leaned over the table, stared hard at my kid, and said, "Your boy doesn't deserve to show up for my kid's birthday." She let the words out bit by bit, as if she really enjoyed being mean. All this happened because I just told her I wouldn't pay for that expensive Range Rover she kept looking at on the internet as if she already owned it. The whole area went quiet for a second. Suddenly, the whole group started cracking up. Even my mom and dad laughed, like picking on Leo was just a fun game for them. I glanced at my boy, then at the rest of them. I spoke in a low voice. "Everyone is going to receive exactly what's coming to them," I said. None of them had any idea what those words actually meant. I should probably explain who I am so all of this makes sense. My name is Harper. I'm a 34-year-old music producer living in Los Angeles. I'm the kind of person who spends more time using my headphones than talking to other people. Usually, it's just me working on a song that isn't finished yet, while my son Leo draws pictures of dinosaurs next to my desk while I try to finish my work on time. I'm a pretty chill person naturally. I had to be that way. When you grow up in a home where trouble starts for no reason at all, you learn how to keep your own feelings steady. I was the person who fixed things long before I even knew that word. I was the kid who turned the problems of adults into real answers. I was only 10 years old when the heater in our home broke and made the air smell like burnt dust. My mother, Alina, was on the floor arguing about bills while Chloe, who is 4 years younger than me at 30 and always loved to be dramatic, was screaming loud enough that the folks living next door came to see what was wrong. Back in those days, being loud was how you got people to notice you in our house. Being quiet and good at things just meant you got more work to do. So, I figured out how to keep everything from falling apart. When I started making cash from writing songs, nobody even thought about asking Chloe to help out. It just happened automatically. I paid for the broken cooling system at my parents' place, bought the food my mom said she'd pay me back for, and covered Robert's insurance costs. My father, Robert, didn't think about Chloe's fuel, her makeup products, her little business events, or whatever new idea she had next. At first, I didn't really care. Helping them felt like I was showing love until it didn't feel that way anymore. The more I did for them, the more they acted like I was forced to give them stuff. It was like the steady life I built was just a bank account for the whole group that they could take from whenever they wanted. And nobody did that more than Chloe. She was always changing her image. One month she owned a candle store, then she did eyelashes, then she was a life coach. She would send me photos of the boards where she put her goals and the stuff she needed to buy for her brand. She would always remind me that I was the big sister, the one who was responsible, and the one making the real money. I let her get away with it many times until the week she told me she needed a luxury Range Rover for her new look. She sent me 3 different links, and the prices were so high they made my throat feel tight. When I didn't write back, she kept pushing me. The messages in the family chat kept coming. It was pressure from the family that they tried to make look like they were being helpful. Alina wrote, "Your sister needs to be steady." Robert said, "Real family shows up for each other." Chloe finished by saying, "You're doing great in LA, don't be weird, just say yes." I didn't say yes. Not this time. That is the reason that dinner happened. That's why Chloe walked in late wearing her white clothes like she was walking onto a stage. Everyone at the table was waiting to see if I would do my usual job and make everything easy for everyone. I didn't do it. And instead of asking them why they were laughing at me, that was the point where something inside me changed quietly. For the first time ever, I understood a specific truth. The second you stop playing the role they gave you, every other person in the group turns against you. The dinner that evening felt like I was in a play I didn't even sign up for. The eating area in my mom and dad's house was exactly the same as it always was. The table that wobbled from when I was a kid, the noise of the old fan on the ceiling, and the light smell of chicken that was cooked too long. Leo sat next to me, moving his legs and tapping a little beat on his plate. Alina and Robert were talking to Chloe like everything was perfectly fine. Then Chloe changed the whole mood with just one thing she said. She was stirring her tea as if she were acting for a camera that wasn't there. "My car stopped working," she said. I already told the people who follow me online that I'm getting a new Range Rover, the matte black one. She looked over at me. You saw the links I sent. I didn't say anything right away. I cut up some chicken for Leo, gave him a napkin, and took a deep breath. Chloe leaned back because she was annoyed that I was being quiet. Just tell me you're paying the first big amount, she said. It's not a big deal. You make real cash. Eleanor said something quiet about helping out the family. Robert added his usual comment. You're the one we can count on, Harper. I put my fork down on the table. No. That word hit the room like a plate falling on the floor. Everyone blinked their eyes, waiting for me to say it was a joke. Chloe made a noise with her nose. Oh, come on. I said no. I said it again. Robert actually started laughing. She's just kidding. Eleanor had a tight smile on her face. Of course she will help out. She always helps us. But I didn't smile back. I didn't make my voice sound nice. I am not buying a car for you. The room was silent for a bit before Chloe's face turned into something very mean. She looked over at Leo, who was quietly coloring a dinosaur on the back of his paper mat. Then she said, In that case, your son doesn't deserve to show up for Ryder's birthday. She said it very smoothly, like she had practiced the words and was just waiting to use them. Leo's marker stopped moving, and he pulled his shoulders in. He looked up at me, not sure what was happening, like he couldn't understand why a grown-up was trying to hurt his feelings on purpose. I felt something pull tight inside me. It wasn't anger quite yet. It was just a clear feeling of understanding. My family wasn't just fine with Chloe using me for money. They were also fine with her using my kid. Aunt Sarah made a snorting sound. Someone whispered, savage, like Chloe had just told a really funny joke. Eleanor actually hid a smile behind her hand. Robert just shook his head and didn't say anything to stop it. Nobody told Chloe she was wrong. Nobody even looked like they were uncomfortable. I looked around the table and saw years of small problems adding up into one big hurt. I thought about every phone bill I paid, every time I sent money late at night, and every time I said sorry for the way Chloe acted. Every time I told Leo, they love you, kid, even when the things they did showed they didn't. I took one steady breath. Everyone will get exactly what they deserve, I said very quietly. They just kept laughing. They didn't hear what I was really saying, that I was building a wall right then and there. After we finished dinner, while they were eating dessert and Chloe was talking about the colors for the party, I helped Leo put his shoes on. He leaned against me, feeling small and warm. Did I do something bad? He whispered. That one sentence hurt me more than anything Chloe ever said. No, I told him. You did everything right. Parents are supposed to protect their kids. In that moment, I realized I had been protecting the wrong people for a long time. When we got home, after Leo went asleep still holding his dinosaur toy, I sat at my desk and looked at the light from my laptop. The house was very quiet, but my head was not. This wasn't just one bad night. It wasn't a mistake. It was a pattern, and patterns don't stop by themselves. Someone has to take the edges and rip them apart. When we walked into the house that night, it felt heavier than usual, like even the air was waiting for me to make a choice I had been avoiding my whole life. Leo went right to the sofa with his dinosaur and curled up in the corner, which is what he always does when he is confused or hurt. I made some leftover pasta hot, sat next to him, and watched him breathe. He didn't talk about what Chloe said. Kids don't know how to name the pain, they just know how to carry it. After I put him in bed, I stood in the door for a minute, listening to him breathe. That sound has helped me through work deadlines, breakups, being tired in the morning, and crazy family phone calls. It kept me grounded. It reminded me who really needed me and who was just using me. I went to my desk. The laptop light lit up the room and made long shadows over Leo's crayons and toy cars on the floor. I opened a blank note and wrote one word at the top: boundaries. Not anger, not getting even, just the thing I was never allowed to have. Then I started making a list of everything my family used me for. Eleanor's phone line was on my plan. Robert's insurance was something I had been paying for months. Chloe's storage unit was connected to my credit card. I looked at the streaming movies, music apps, and other payments I had taken over because I felt bad, tired, or just out of habit. Seeing it all written down changed something in my chest. It wasn't being mean to stop doing this. It was just being clear. I wrote 3 emails. I didn't use emotions. I didn't write long stories about the past, and I didn't give explanations they could change later. I just gave them the facts. To Alina, starting tomorrow, her phone line would be moved. I sent her the steps to do it. To Robert, his insurance payment would move back to his own card on the 1st of the month. To Chloe, I sent a list of every bit of money she owed me, the dates, and a plan for her to pay me back. I finished with one sentence. I am not a person who lends money. I read every message again. I took out anything that sounded like I was mad. Being mad was like fuel, but being clear was like a plan. Before I sent them, I whispered the same thing I said at dinner, but this time it wasn't a warning. It was a promise to myself. Everyone will get exactly what they deserve. I clicked send. The house stayed quiet. No bells went off. No big explosions, just silence. A new kind of silence. The kind that happens right before your life changes forever. Tomorrow was Ryder's birthday party. They thought I would show up, smile, and do what I was told like I always did. But tomorrow, I wasn't going there as the family's fixer. I was going there as Leo's mom. The following morning, the LA sky was a pale shade of blue, the kind that seems way too bright when you feel really heavy inside. Leo got up early and was very excited, the way only little kids can be. He was holding the birthday card he made for Ryder. He had drawn a blue car with messy wheels and a small person waving from the window. "Will he like it?" he asked me. "He is going to love it," I told him while I ruffled his hair. I didn't tell him the truth about what was going on. I had a nervous feeling in my stomach, because I knew today wouldn't go the way everyone thought it would. We drove over to the neighborhood where my parents live. We passed a lot of houses that looked exactly the same with cut grass and cheap holiday decorations. Lee kept hitting the back of my seat gently with his feet and humming a song he heard me working on the night before. When I parked the car a little bit down the street, he hopped out, still holding that card very carefully with both of his hands. The party was already moving fast. I could hear the music from the sidewalk. I heard kids laughing, a dog barking, and someone yelling for more cotton candy. There was a big arch made of blue and silver balloons in the driveway. A table had cupcakes on it with cartoon faces on top. A big bounce slide they had rented was taller than everything else and was shining in the sunlight. It was the kind of party that was made to look perfect for people on the internet. As soon as we walked into the yard, Chloe saw us. She was standing by the balloons wearing a white jumpsuit and very big sunglasses, even though most of the party was in the shade. Blake was standing right next to her holding some balloons, looking bored like he always does. Chloe crossed her arms over her chest. "Oh, you came," she said. I didn't care about the way she said it. "We won't stay long," I told her. She looked at the card Leo was holding and then looked at me with a mean smile. "Did you bring the keys to my car?" she asked. Even now, she was still acting like I was going to buy it. I didn't look away from her. "No." Her smile disappeared instantly. "You're really going to do this here?" she asked. Before I could say anything, Alina showed up behind her like she had been called. "Harper," she whispered very loudly. "Don't start a fight. The kids are right here." I felt my jaw get tight. "I'm not starting a fight, but yesterday she said my son doesn't deserve to be here." A few of the other parents nearby turned their heads to listen. I didn't plan for people to watch us, but maybe it was a good thing. Robert walked over from the grill. He was holding a spatula like he was getting ready to give me a lecture. "Let's be smart about this," he said. "Your sister was just upset." "Being upset doesn't give her the right to be mean to a child," I said. Chloe made a loud noise. "Oh, please, it was just a joke. Stop being so dramatic." Leo gripped my hand tighter. I felt him leaning against me. Everything felt very sharp in that moment. This was not the time for me to act small. I knelt down so I was as tall as Leo. "Hey, buddy, can you go sit with Grandpa for a minute?" He wasn't sure at first, but he nodded and walked a few steps toward Robert. He was holding that card like it was made of thin glass. I stood up and I felt very calm. I didn't need to yell. "I'm done," I said. Chloe laughed once because she was confused. "Done with what? Being silly." "All of it," I told her. "I'm done with paying for everything. I'm done with being treated like I don't matter. I'm done with you talking about my son like he is a tool you can use against me." She moved her sunglasses down her nose. "You're punishing everyone because you don't want to help your family," she said. "I'm making rules because you don't know how to treat family with respect," I replied. Elena tried to stop me again. "Harper, no." I turned to look at her. "Mom, this is important. All of you stood there last night and laughed while she made Leo feel bad. That is not how a family acts. That is just being mean." The yard got even quieter. A few other adults walked closer to us. It was the kind of quiet that happens right before a big storm starts. I looked back at Chloe. "I have paid for your phone bills, your debt, your emergencies, your hobbies, your new business ideas, and the stuff you buy without thinking. I paid for things you don't even remember because you never asked how they got paid for." Her mouth opened, but she didn't say anything. "As of today, all of that stops," I said. Robert looked upset. "What do you mean it stops?" "The phone lines are moved," I told them. "The insurance is going back to your own card. I am not responsible for the storage unit anymore. I stopped all the apps and movie services." Blake said, "Damn," under his breath. I kept talking. "And Chloe, I sent you a list of every dollar you owe me. You will pay me back with a plan that makes sense. I am not a bank. I am not a safety net. I am not the person who pays for your life." Chloe took a step toward me. "You can't talk to me like that," she said. "I can," I answered, "and I am doing it right now." Elena whispered to me, "Harper, people are staring at us." "Good," I said. "Maybe someone needs to see this because I am finished being the one who stays quiet." Chloe pointed her finger at me, and her voice got louder. "You are ruining Ryder's birthday." "No," I told her. "You tried to ruin Leo's childhood." That really hit her hard. Even Chloe had to blink. Before anything else could fall apart, Leo pulled on my shirt. "Can I give him his card now?" he asked. "Of course," I said. He walked over to Ryder and held out the drawing with both of his hands. Ryder looked at the card, then at me, then at Chloe. Then he put his arms around Leo and gave him a big hug. Kids always figure out the truth much faster than the adults do. They don't care about who has power, they just care about the people. That one hug meant more than any of the talking in the yard. I put my hand on Leo's shoulder. "We are leaving now," I said. Chloe's voice sounded like it was about to crack. "So, you're just walking away?" I nodded my head. "Yes, and if you want to be in our lives again, you have to say sorry to Leo. You have to treat him with respect. And you need to talk to me like I'm your sister, not a wallet." Robert walked toward me like he was trying to scare me the way he did when I was a little girl. But I wasn't that same girl anymore. I stood there strong, and I felt taller than before. "Don't make this a bigger deal than it is," he warned me. "It already is a big deal," I said. "You just didn't see it because I was the one carrying the weight for all of you." For the first time, Elena looked really upset and surprised. She looked at Chloe, then at Leo, and then at the people standing around us. It looked like she was finally starting to understand. We walked to the car. The air felt very quiet, like even the birds had stopped making noise. As I opened the car door for Leo, I heard Aunt Sarah whisper behind me, "She really means it." Yes, I did mean it. And for the first time, I wasn't scared of what would happen when I stopped being the one who fixed everything for the family. The truth was very simple. They had no idea what was coming for them. Not yesterday, not today, and not in the new life I was choosing to have. By Monday morning, the results of my choices started landing exactly where they were supposed to. My phone kept buzzing with messages. The phone company moved the lines. The insurance office changed the credit card on file. 2 of the movie services sent me emails saying thank you for being a customer. It felt like I was cleaning out a messy room I had been stuck in for years. Elena called me first. She wasn't yelling like I thought she would. She just sounded quiet. "My phone isn't working," she said. I sent you the list of steps to fix it, I told her nicely. You can handle it yourself. There was a long silence on the line. Okay, she said. Robert didn't call me, but he sent a short text. Got the notice about the insurance. That was all he said. The fact that he wasn't angry was a big change. Chloe, however, went totally crazy. She sent text after text, and each one was more upset than the one before. The people at the storage place had called her because the payment didn't go through. She started posting stuff online that was very dramatic. She used dark backgrounds and wrote things about fake family and made polls for her followers. I didn't write back to her. I didn't have to. The rules I set were doing all the work for me. 2 nights later, Alina came to my front porch. This time, she didn't just walk inside. She stood there and kept moving her hands around. You're right, she whispered. About what? I asked. About what happened to Leo. About all of it, she said. It wasn't a full apology yet, but it was the start of one. The next morning, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from Chloe. I was wrong to say that about Leo, the text said. It was just one sentence, but it showed that something had finally changed. A week later, I took Leo to the park near our house. The sun made the grass look like gold, and he ran down the slide laughing so hard. It felt like a big win. For the first time in years, my phone wasn't buzzing with a crisis, and I didn't feel that heavy weight in my chest. It was just us, and it was peaceful. I watched him run toward me with his face all red from playing, and I realized something very simple. I didn't have to hurt myself to protect my son. I just needed boundaries. I needed clear, calm rules that nobody could ever twist around again.